Hello and welcome to the Sanctuary, a safe space to speak from the heart. I'm your host, Israel, and my guest today is David Serero, opera singer, producer, director, actor. There's so many things you're doing, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, my brother. How's everything for you?
Going okay, going okay. So, we met when you have your film about Tahari, this person that came with basically not in his pocket and then built this fashion empire. I just want to lead back to that story. Like, what about that story pulled you to tell it?
Well, I was always impressed by these people who started out of nothing, and not just at the level zero, who started minus something. You know what I mean? And then who arrived not only at a very big success, but also were able to change a little bit the game in their own field.
Mm,
So that was what really attracted me also with Elie Tahari, but also aside of that, his personality, his generosity, his kindness, and
mhm,
his really sense of fashion, his sense of business, his sense of growth.
mm,
All of that really inspired me, and also I love fashion and I love the universe of fashion.
mm. The story is so gripping, it's so personal, it's so touching, and
Thank you.
Tahari is like really open. How did you get someone of that status to open up and pretty much give you
Uh,
free reign to make this film?
Well, I give him a lot of alcohol, you know. No, he was actually, I was lucky in a way because it happened. I mean, I was lucky, but also I wouldn't have done it if that wouldn't have happened. It's that it was during COVID, you know. So he was basically home and doing nothing, just answering some phone calls, but he was like really bored. It was like the lockdown started in March, and I filmed him like in June, July, around that time.
Mm,
So you stay home a month, 2 months, but 3 months after what you do. So he was more at ease, more relaxed. He was not in the stress, like he didn't have a collection to build or to design.
mm,
He had time, but I'm saying that in a way I wouldn't have done it because it's only because I had nothing else to do and no shows, and that I was like, okay, let's do this documentary, which I always wanted to do no matter what. But
mm,
it turned out that it was actually my the stars were perfectly aligned.
mm. It's always wonderful to me how in such adversity as like the whole world being locked down in pandemic, it opens your mind to other opportunities and other directions you can take things.
Yeah, because you cut every day. It's a very good comment, Israel. It's like you cut every day with the little things. The little things keep you busy, but you focus too much on the little thing that you don't have time for the big stuff.
Mm,
You know, but sometimes once you drop a little bit the little thing and you focus only on the big stuff, then you don't have to worry about the little things anymore. You know what I
mm,
mean? So uh, that I knew I wanted to go to movies. I was already directing like dozens and dozens of theatrical productions. So I knew that directing a film was something that will come naturally. But for some reason, I was scared. I don't know why I was scared. And then I have there's a director who is like 19 or 20 years old, a very good guy, very good filmmaker. He hired me for his movie, and I told him I was scared to start to direct movies. And it was like, dude, I'm 20 or forgot which. It's like I know nothing. I wish I had 1% of your knowledge. So
yeah.
don't worry. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe you're right. So then I did the documentary. I thought it was the easiest way to go into directing, but it turned out that it was very most difficult thing,
Mm-hmm.
and the movie is now in many film festivals, including yours, and I'm so grateful. And they all said, "Man, we cannot believe that this is your first film because to put 40 years of fashion, especially fashion on the screen, it has to be shown a very interesting way,
Mm-hmm.
and the way you put it was very, very good, and it's like very punchy. The colors also, I made them very punchy, everything. So I'm very, very happy, and it gave me the desire to do at least two more movies per year, at
Wow,
least,
that is a great goal.
plus a series. I'm doing also a series now.
Oh, okay. We'll get
Yeah.
into that. But like, I guess your artistic beginnings was more in like theater and the opera. How did you get into that?
Well, the opera, I was singing before, as a pop singer, most likely jazz and all of that. And I was playing piano, and then I started to do theater,
Mm.
and I really love theater. And then people told me, "Wait, you're singing, you do theater. Why don't you do musicals?" Then I'm like, "Okay, I love musicals." And while I'm doing musicals, people told me, "Oh, you have a voice for opera," and I thought that the opera was something that lasts 8 hours, that it's in Germans, and all the singers at 800 pounds. I thought it was that, and it turned out that not at all. It's actually I mean, you have of course some of that stuff happening, but you have to dig for the good
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And one night I went to the opera and I said, "That's what I want to do," you know. And but quickly I understood that I was capable of learning the thing very. With I'm a very disciplined
Mm-hmm.
person. I'm a very like the army. I've always been like I always say hello, to people. Hello, please, sir. I'm very into
Mm-hmm.
that. Very, very into that. I'm very old school about it, actually. Uh, but in the same way, I understood that in the opera, my personality would be the key for me really to make it, because I saw so many great opera singers from Russia, from Asia, from everywhere, where I was like, wow, that's really something else. So I needed to come up with something. And these people who are really, really good, they were not working that much, they
Mm-hmm.
didn't have so much work. So then I was like, okay, I don't just want to sing at home. You know what I mean? I want somehow to make a living, and to be able to share it, and I was like, I want to perform in stadiums,
Mm.
man. I want my stuff to be seen by all over the world, and I want to be able to communicate with uh, with music. And when I really started, and I started to be a little bit on my own in a way, and started to perform repertoire other than the one of opera, and to mix it, I was really one of the
Wow.
first. So you had the three tenors, Domingo, Pavarotti, who did it, but they were already big stars. But me, I was kind of starting, and I was already mixing stuff with the stand-up comedy, with "Ladies and gentlemen, how are you?" When at the time when people, they were told not to upload between songs,
Mm.
so I kind of arrived like an alien in that world, and now it's like an everyday,
Mm.
everybody is very open. It changed social media. We can watch opera on YouTube. But back in the days, even talking about YouTube, when I put a video of me in opera, I was so much one of the
Mm.
first that when you would put opera, you would see me on the first page. You know, and people remember were writing me stuff such as, "Oh, why don't you put a video of you in the shower singing opera?" Like it was seen so badly. Or when I had a
Mm.
website, to the point that on Google you would search opera singer, you would see me in the first page. And people were like, "Oh, you're a company, you're a business, you're an artist. Why do you put?" So it all starts, with thinking what is really the best for you, for the people,
Mm.
and everybody's a little bit different.
Mm.
So you know.
What do you love about making music, though?
Oh man, is this magic that when I sing, I forget about everything
Mm.
else. It's I cannot tell you. It's and it's infinite. You know what I mean? It's infinite. The other day I was thinking, I said, can you believe it's the same 12 notes? And for the last 500 years, all the music that has been done, all the business that has been done, all the jobs he had created, all the tears and joy of people when people go to concerts and people go to enjoy, is I really, really love music. And also meeting with
Mm.
composers, and the dramatic aspect is that we can use music to tell stories also, which is a lot of fun also, um, with musicals and with opera, with all kind of stuff. And I really love what I do, and I love to navigate between between styles and genres. Also,
Mm.
that's also one thing that I really love. You know.
So, with your music, everything you're working on, life is going okay. 2020 was going just the way most people planned it, and then March 2020, the whole world shut down. How was that initial shutdown for you?
Well, me, I really lived it pretty bad because I had a musical, Anne Frank, a musical written by my friend Jean-Pierre Dida, um, that was supposed to open on March 13.
Mm.
And 2 hours or an hour before the curtain was supposed to go up, I had to basically I had to cancel,
Mm.
because out of 13 actors that I have on stage, six of them got COVID.
Wow.
You know, so they woke up sick, and in those days, in this time, we didn't know. People were like, "Oh, I have fever." The other one, "Oh, I keep coughing this morning. Oh, I don't feel sick. I feel tired."
Mm.
So we were all like that, and it turned out that also got COVID, and I got it really bad, like for 3 weeks to a month. I really
Wow.
lived hell. I really, really did lived hell. So it was very difficult because we rehearsed very, very hard, and right before the first performance,
Mm.
the very first, we have to cancel it. So we, as a matter of fact, bringing it back in March
Mm.
2022, and for almost a year the theater was closed. And when we came back, I still saw the box of Starbucks that was still on the table, thinking that we will come back the next day for the show. We didn't know
Wow.
that
Wow. Wow.
a
That's
year
insane.
later we'd be able to access to a theater. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And no, it was hard. But as soon as I started to feel better and to heal, I understood that it was an opportunity that we will never get again.
Mm.
Where I understood right away that we will be stuck for a lot of time.
Mm.
That it won't be just 1 week, 2 weeks. It would be at least for like 4 or 5 months. Like the nurses and the people at the hospital, they told me maybe in a year we'll be able to reopen something. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to bother with the shows. When everything will reopen, then I will reopen. But for the moment, we're going to leave it as it
Mm.
is, and I'm going to use that time to finish all the stuff I ever wanted to finish. So
Mm.
I wrote many plays, many musicals. I started to write and produce many albums that I never had the chance
Mm-hmm.
to finish, which I was able to finally to finish in books and recordings, and yeah, and call the people I wanted to call, and do the projects I wanted to do. And I understood I had a second chance in life because I really almost died with COVID. So I was like, okay, that's my second chance. From now on, I'm not going to wait a
Mm.
day to call the people I want to call,
Mm.
to talk with the people I want to talk, to do the stuff, I want to do. And many people told me that. A lot of people who I met who succeeded big time, they all told me, man, almost died of a car accident when I got out of the hospital. I mean, I couldn't go alone to the bathroom. So I was like, when I got out to the hospital, I was like, okay, that's my luck. I appreciate life, and I'm gonna move mountains because
Mm,
we have only one life. So that's a little bit what happened to me, and I must say that since COVID basically started, it has been very profitable for me because I've created so much, so many stuff. So I'm 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 happy about what I was able to do, but I always knew that when everybody is looking to that side, you have to look that side.
mhm,
You know what I mean? So that's really where, at least you're alone. Um, that really helped me. Also a
mm.
lot.
Yeah, man. Glad you're feeling a lot better. I know
Thank
friends
you,
that had
brother.
COVID, and it can be a crazy experience. So, but like now
Disaster.
you have this new lease of life. You got better. You made the Tahari documentary. After that experience with that director, like once you started making this documentary with Tahari, what are some of the lessons that came out of this process for you?
Oh, um, well, the good thing is when I started to do that documentary, I had 20 years of producing shows and producing festivals and producing music and producing. So I knew how to be very well organized. I knew how to plan ahead. The team I hired are the same team that has been filming my shows for many years. So it went really, really well. But I learned a lot from Elie Tahari, definitely. And I learned from the people who I interviewed who are part of that
Mm,
movie. So it was really going back to school and learn from him, but also it was a lot of challenges, of course, when you do a documentary about fashion.
mhm,
And so what I did is I watched as many fashion documentaries I could, and I was like, okay, what I do not want to see, what is boring, what I don't want. So the kind of stuff I saw were either the people were talking to the camera like this, yes, I was born, ta 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 ta. Others, they were living their lives and the camera was following them like this, and they were ignoring the camera. So yeah, so okay, so let's do that, and you know what I mean? Yeah. And me, I really wanted him to tell a story. So it was more like this, like I was in front of him and he was yes, and I was ta 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 ta, so that's a little bit how I
mm,
designed it. And also it always worked with um uh, the kind of images that you have, and also I found out that I could use the same techniques I have for my shows and for comedy that I could use for movies, which is testing,
mm,
you know. So I was able to try it out, to try the movie to people and see their reaction, and making them watch. Already when someone is watching your
mm,
movie and you are near them, you realize stuff that you would have never seen if you were just on
mhm,
your own. Even if the other person doesn't see it, there's something magical about it. And yeah, definitely when I had friends at home, I showed them the movie. They told me some very, very interesting feedback. So when I presented the first cut, which to me was pretty much advanced, but I said to Ellie, it's just a small skeleton, like it's very, very basic, but for me it was like very much advanced. But he was very reassured, and he really loved it. And after I presented to him another one, he was really, oh, this one is
mm,
really good. And then that's why I went. But I would say I started in July to film, July 2020, pre-production in June 2020, and the movie was ready to be shown in June 2021, July 2021. So it took a
mm,
year.
mm. I'm like, again, the passion that you put into this project is very evident. I'm curious though, like, what
Thank
did
you.
you want to be growing up?
Honestly, it was always being an
Mm,
entertainer. Entertain people. not being the center of the attention, but I wanted really to make people laugh. Like even when I was 7 year old, 8 year old, I still remember it, not exactly, but I remember some of it. That at the end of the day, the teacher was taking me, putting me like in front of the board, in
Mhm.
the center of the class, and so, okay, David, you have 10 minutes. The class is yours, and I would do impressions. I will say jokes. I will play. I will sing something and make people laugh when I was singing. And that went on like for many, many, many years at school. So it was always to make people
Mm.
happy. You
Why do
know,
you feel that was
that was
important to
really
you?
what I even no, yeah, and even in life, when I hate problems, I am very diplomatic. If someone gets angry, I'm like, you're absolutely right. I apologize. And, even though, I wouldn't feel I've done anything wrong, but that's the last thing I want is not about being
Mm.
right, is about being smart. So because you have a lot of homeless people who think that they are right, so it's
Mhm.
about being smart. And I want really, really to always to have good connections with people, and I work with people on the long term, like the people I'm doing the movie here in Paris. The production team are people I know for
Mhm.
20 years, you know so it's on the long term, you work with people, and your relationship is very different with them. And I just want people to have a good impression of me, but I'm not like, please love me, please, not like that. But I'm more like, sure, whatever you want, no problem. It's
Mm.
always a yes. Don't worry, we'll make it work.
No, I like
It's
that
all good.
approach. Like, life shouldn't be that hard. That's just my like
Mm.
life shouldn't be that hard. You shouldn't have to be stressing every day or stressing around the people you work with. You want to personally surround yourself with the people that you get along with. It just makes life easier and the things you're working on a lot better anyway.
I 1,000% agree with you, Israel. But with a person like you, they can only love you, brother. You know what I mean? No, it's true. I mean, you have people like yourself who are really having such a great personality that
Mm,
it transpires. From they don't have to say anything, that you're like, oh, okay, I can tell that person
mm,
is a good person. Um, Same story when I see sometimes a guy, I'm like, oh, this guy is a multi-millionaire. You can tell, and the person didn't
mm,
show you money, So it means that the personality, the soul really
mm, mm.
transpires.
So now you're in Paris.
Mm.
How is Paris and what are these projects you're working on?
Well, Paris is great. I really love to to go back. I really need to come back sometimes to France, because it gives me the opportunity when I come back to New York with tons of more ideas and more projects, and also I come back more fresh. You know, that's also very good. And when I'm in Paris and I'm away from everything from New York, I'm kind of able to see from a distant place. So I sometimes see better. But Paris is great. I have a car. I can drive Paris. I love it. I love driving. So, and the food is amazing, and I have a lot of friends here, so it's really good. So I did a lot of stuff. I did a movie where I was as an actor. I was not directing. It was a very big movie in France, and we filmed in Paris, in south of France, in Madagascar
Whoa.
Island. It's a very, very big movie. And also, what else I did? I performed in Armenia.
Wow.
I had some shows there. In 2 weeks, I'm going to perform in Dubai for 10 days. I have a lot of stuff there. And I'm directing one movie. It's a documentary about a filmmaker named Elie Tahari. He's very well known in France. And he did some stuff in the US, but
Mm,
he's very well known in France. And I'm doing another one about a filmmaker named Lisa Azuelos, with whom I did a disco show off Broadway in New York called Lost in Disco, and she directed and wrote the movie LOL with Miley Cyrus
Mm-mm.
and Demi Moore. So in France, she's a big star in France, and so I'm doing that movie about her, and I have tons of recordings that I've done, and I have my own record label, so I signed also some talents here where I'm developing, doing their music videos, and then in January I have there is a film festival that I'm producing here, and also there is Elie Tahari actually who is coming to Paris for the Paris Fashion Week, and he's going to get an award at the UNESCO, and we're going to have the premiere of the movie in Paris in movie theaters, and then back to New
Yeah,
York in
to get ready
February,
for your
hopefully.
show that was closed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're gonna start to rehearse in February and start to
Okay,
open in
so
March.
you're saying that thing, just like naming all these things you're doing. I'm tired just hearing it, and you're the one doing it. Like, how do you have all this energy to do all these things you're doing?
Well, it's easier these days than when it was 20 years ago
Mm,
when I started, because now you have emails. You can find the information, you can write to many people at once. I'm just telling you, you can send an information to, I don't know, like 50 journalists at the
mm,
same time. Me personally, I like to write dear, and write something specific, but back in the days, you had to call. Back in the days, you had to print and put it in an envelope, and I remember spending 3 days just to put it in an envelope with the stamp. 3 days. So why now it's taking me 3 minutes. So you have more time, and also the big difference is that back in the days, I would get like 3 months for an answer, and usually it would be a
mm,
no. But now, like, I get an answer in
mm,
in 3 minutes, basically, and it's faster with people because they know me, so I get right away something to see that I'm legit and that I'm a man of my word. So it's for me, it's faster. What I have more time also to work, to learn my lines, to work on my music, and but what really, really I started to limit are a lot
ah,
of the trips. I used to go. I saw with COVID, like the time that I was wasting in how you say in traveling with the planes and everything, and now I with the MacBook Pro, I mean, in the plane you can work as if you were anywhere else. With your iPhone, you can do almost everything. So it's like you're constantly
mm,
working versus being in an office where you will work, let's say, on a day of 8 hours, you will really work like 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours, because you have a lot of
mhm.
talks. And how was your weekend? And da da da. Oh, you said you forgot to put a hello on an email. That person is offended. We have to do a meeting about that. Okay, whatever. So a lot of that
Yeah.
BS, not to say another word, is going. This is why I work a lot alone, so that I count on myself to do things. I have hired a couple of people, but I show them once. If they don't get it, I
Mm,
take somebody else. Because I cannot come back, and
mhm,
otherwise I'd rather do it myself. But it's much faster. It's much um, faster. But I never felt that I was legit to be in that business. I thought I would be just the guy who would be a dishwasher because I did that for so many years, or a waiter, or
mm,
maybe a cook. You know what I mean? So for me, when people call me for a gig, I can never
mm,
say no. When I meet I met a big director, and he wrote this gorgeous musical, and it was never done in the US in English. And I'm like,
mm,
let's do it in New York. Let's do it in English. Let's do it in New York. And the guy says, I want to do it with you.
Mm.
I'm going to say yes, and I'm not going to wait. Oh, let's do it in a year or in 2 years. I'm like, I have this opportunity.
Mm.
I'm going to do it now. You know what I mean? I'm not going to wait that someone comes and takes the job. And if it's not working fast, I love Napoleon. I read a lot about Napoleon, and he said he had the smallest army, but they were the fastest, and they were attacking with a lot of efficacy. Of
Mm,
course, I'm
mm,
not
mm.
promoting wars or anything like that, but it was, 200 years ago, it was another era. But what I'm saying is, I understood that
Mhm.
speed is everything.
You have to
Like,
strike when the iron is
um,
hot.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I learned one thing from one French president, Nicolas Sarkozy. He said, "A good decision is nothing. A good decision is a good idea. So you have the line of a good idea that meets
Mm,
the line of time. Is a good idea
mm.
at a right time. If now you have an idea to say, oh, let me invent internet, you'll be like, dude, it's
Too late. Yeah.
you're too late. But 30 years ago, that would have been like, oh,
Hmm.
okay, what's about. So, and same thing, we talk a lot about cryptos these days. I'm like, let me try, let me see, let me try. Because many times when you look at, let's say, stocks, and you're like, can you believe that company 30 years ago worth one 1%
Hmm.
of what it's worth now? Or even 5, 10 years ago, and you're like, oh, I should have done it. So now I'm like,
Mm.
I try stuff, I do stuff, and it's like, there's that joke of that Jewish guy who is like, every day he dreams to win at the lottery,
Hmm. Hmm.
at Mega Million. Say, please God, give me. I want to win. He prays. He goes to the synagogue every day. He does only good deeds, everything. And one day he dies. He arrives in front of God and he tells him, God, I don't understand. Every day I prayed that I would win. I did
Hmm.
everything, and you never made me win. And God told him, I wanted you to win, but you never played a dollar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the the funny thing in that is that you can hope, you can have the wish, you can have the good heart, you can do
Gotta,
anything you want, but at some point
gotta.
you have to deliver the goods. At some point you have to go there. You have to send the email, to press the button, to push the door, um, to
Mm.
do that, and that I've always done. But I was always afraid of what's higher than me. Like, oh, I'm not going to go to Amazon;
Mm.
they're too big for me. Or I'm not going to go to to these ones; they're too big for me. I'm not going to submit my stuff for the Grammys. They're too much for
Mm.
me. And I was nominated at the first round of the Grammys this year. So just to tell you, it's never too. It's good to feel also. I would say impressed by what's bigger than you, but it's also good not to wait, because I don't want to be in a wheelchair and go to knock at
Mm.
doors and say, please give me work to sing. You know what I mean? Is while I'm healthy, while I can do
Mm.
it, I want to do it now.
Indeed.
You know?
Wow,
Yeah.
David.
I love your chair, man. I want the same chair.
It's a gift from a friend. I'm really grateful for the chair.
Oh, man. I wish I had that kind of friends. My friends, they give me a bottle of water. That's it.
So well, how do you relax then? Like what do you do when you want to relax?
When I want to relax, I love to smoke a cigar. And and drink a nice cognac. And what's so funny is that I said that in a couple of interviews, and every time I go to perform in an Eastern country or in Middle East or in I don't know, like in Maghreb, North Africa, they offer me a box of cigar, as a gift, welcome. So I have a little bit here, but mostly in New York. I don't know how many boxes of cigars. Like, I have cigar like for a whole New York. Maybe I can open a store, and cognac for so many. But yeah, I was in Armenia. They offer me cigars. They offer me They have their own cognac called Ararat over there. They offer me tons of bottles of it. So sweet. So I like these sometimes. I like to watch a
Mhm.
movie while I'm also working. And a movie for me is good is when, okay, let me close the work computer and let me look at the movie. That happens from time to
Mhm.
time. And I like to watch the classics of movies because people tell me, you haven't watched that movie? No. We always feel like that. Have you watched? They always tell you something you don't know, and you feel like you don't know anything. You know, so I do that, and also sometimes I like a good party. I
Mm.
like to go with the friends in a club and take a bottle and party with people and people I don't know and say, hey, how are you? Hey, yeah. I like sometimes this also, not all
Yeah.
the time, but let's say, once every 2, 3 months, maybe,
Mm.
but only when I'm in Paris.
Oh, okay. So Paris has the best
Yeah.
parties, you say?
No, yeah, I would do one night in Paris. If I'm in London, I go to London. I go in Miami, I will go. But that's it. In New York, the party change is not as it used to
Oh.
be, because now you have promoters who have all people who are with their
Mm.
tables. They don't want people anymore when we used to dance
Mm.
and meet people or be at the bar, meet people at the bar. Now it's kind of a very um, separated, but I want to go only to, I like to go to places where I know the people at the door, when I know the manager, when I know, you know what I mean?
Mm.
So
Mm.
I feel better when it's the case. And I go out with people I know I'm confident with,
Mm. I'm
So,
curious, with all these things you do, what's your stance on social media like Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff?
well, I got my Instagram hacked,
Oh.
you know. Yeah, I don't know how they did that, but I got it hacked and I lost it. We wrote to Instagram, it was crazy story. So I kind of lost my
Hmm.
Instagram, but we'll see. We filed some sort of a claim to Instagram to have
Mhm.
it back. But otherwise, yeah, Twitter is very helpful, and Facebook is also very very helpful because it keeps me updated about my friends, what they're up to, what they're doing, and so you can support also your friends by put them a like and congratulations and also the
Mm.
birthdays because I always forget. Besides few friends'
Yeah.
birthdays, and when you meet people, they don't necessarily tell you, "Oh, by the way, my
Yes.
birthday is." So it's good that on Facebook you see the birthday and you can send a little
Yes,
word.
yes,
Definitely.
yes. Oh man,
Yeah.
David, is always a pleasure chatting to you. And
Oh,
I
my
know,
brother,
you
anytime.
have this whole plan over there in Paris. So I'm going to let you go, but I need to ask you this question just in a few sentences,
Of
right?
course.
All these experiences and
Of
then
course.
all you've gathered over the years, like what kind of advice would you share to someone that's like, I love what David is doing. He's doing all these things. I'd love to build my career towards that position. What advice could you share?
Oh, um, first of all, um, don't show your work until there's nothing more you feel that you can
Hmm.
add. you know One of the biggest mistakes I did when I started out is that because I had the ambition that was stronger than the level that I had, so I managed to open big doors. And then when people were hearing me, they were like, oh, okay, all right, whatever, thank you. So then after, when you come back to these people and you're like, no, no, I'm better, they're like, yeah,
You messed up that
yeah.
time.
So they don't know that you can make
Right.
progress, and really focus really on knowledge, on learning, on education, on learning things. Now you have tools like YouTube. You can record yourself with your phone. You can. Uh, it's so easy compared to before. I wish I could record myself 20 years ago and hear that and that was
Mm.
not good. you can try yourself out. You can build a small stage at home and film yourself, and see what's wrong and
Mm.
what is good. And you can do a recording at home and
Yeah.
try it out before you put it out. Now, these days, a lot of people, because they are in the do-it-yourself, I would say,
Yeah.
syndrome, they think that they are record label. They think they are producers. They think they are, they take a photo with their phones. They think they are
Mm.
photographers. They write one or two phrases online. They think they are journalists. It's a craft. It's a craft. But don't be afraid of learning. It's never you never
Mm.
stop learning, and don't say to people, I know how to do. Even if be like, please, I need your
Mhm.
help me, please, whatever you can tell me, I
Mm.
take it.
Mm.
you know
Wow, David, this is just so much nugget of knowledge, man.
oh, you're the sweet. I want your accent. I told you, man, I want your accent. How do you say it? Throughout the years, how do you say it?
How do I say it?
The years. How do
To
you
the
say the years?
years.
Oh, through the years. Where is your
I'm
accent
Nigerian.
from,
It's
bro?
Nigerian.
Oh man, I've done a movie with a great Nigerian man, Samuel Hobole or something
Mm,
like that. I mean, yeah, man. People of Africa are
wow.
sweetest world, sweetest people.
Yeah.
Really, it's really wonderful, man. So they do great
Yep.
movies in Nigeria.
Yep. They do.
Yeah, I did one with his name is Richard. He goes with three
RMD.
letters. RMD. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did a movie with him. Alice in not in Wonderland. It was Alice in something.
Oh.
Alice in America.
Okay. I'll be sure to check that out.
Yeah, yeah, very
Man,
good movie.
David,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
let you go because you're one really busy man.
Thank you, brother. No, don't let me go. I don't want to go.
Well, thank you so much. And again, thank you for sending in your
Anytime, brother.
film
Anytime.
about the super talented Mr. Tahari, Elie Tahari. And I can't wait to watch these films you're working on in France.
Thank you, my dear brother. I will send them to you in priority. And thank you for having me. It's really an honor to be in front of you, to be by your side, and I hope to see you in person very soon, my man.
Yeah, hope so too. Thank you.
Okay.